have a motto or a phrase that you live by? Maybe you know somebody who has a particular motto or phrase that they live by. Words that inspire how they go about their life. Anybody? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Is that your motto? That's Bart's motto. A family motto. And what does that capture of the spirit of your family?
Just don't give up.
Don't give up.
When
When things seem at their worst, you have to keep going. It's a good motto. I like it. Anybody else have a motto? School, 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 school. That doesn't sound like a very uplifting motto. What does that mean for you? You always get to see your friends and your teachers. And does that bring you joy? Yeah. Yeah. So that is an uplifting motto for you. School, 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 school. All right. Thank you for sharing. Karen.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover. And what does that mean for you, Karen?
It means give people a chance.
Give people
And get
a
to
chance.
know them.
Yeah, get to know them.
Then if you don't like them,
Then if you don't like them,
Turn the page.
proceed as you may.
Go to the next book.
skip that. I didn't mean it.
Yes. Is that Liz?
Oh, I just have one. I always say it is what it is.
It is what it is. I've heard that before. What does that mean for you, Liz?
Well, I don't know, but long ago when I was getting all worked up about something, I don't know if it was at a wedding or something, and I said, well, now so-and-so forgot the right shoes to bring, and everything was going wrong. And my daughter's to-be mother-in-law said to me, well, look, Liz, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, so when you're getting all worked up about all the things that are going wrong,
Let it go.
just let it go. Yeah. Any other mottos, life creeds? Charlene.
My grandmother's, take the bitter with the better and make the best of it.
Take the bitter with the better and make the best of it. Yes, you shared this with me. And what does that mean for her?
To her, well, it's, not everything goes well all the time, so you have to take the bitter with the good times, and when bad time, make the best of it. Deal with it.
Deal
You'll
with it.
survive.
So not everything goes perfectly all the time, right? Yeah. Ever, she says. Ever. So just make the best of it.
Exactly.
Karen.
Do the next right thing.
Do the next right thing. So if you make a mistake, just do the next right thing. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. You had one to end? You can always make lemonade out of lemons. And what? I don't know if that's the phrase that I would associate with you, Ed. There's another phrase you're always saying to me. What's the phrase? Do you remember? Yeah. Whenever there's a problem, do you remember? No big deal, Pastor. No big deal. No big deal. So, I mean, this kind of goes with that phrase. What does that mean for you, the lemonade? You can always take a bad situation and make it better. Jamie.
Well, my Aunt Sue actually taught me this one. If I say something I'm not supposed to say that it's inappropriate, you could ask God for forgiveness.
Ask God for forgiveness. That's a good motto. It's always there, that forgiveness. All you need to do is ask for it.
I'm always telling the kids on the bus, it doesn't cost anything to be nice and pay attention.
It doesn't cost anything to be nice and pay attention. And what does that mean for you?
So, anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. There's no reason why you can't be nice to each other. It doesn't cost you anything to say a nice word to someone. If you have something neat to say, then maybe you should think about it for a minute. Take a deep breath, count to 10, and think if you really want to say that. But
Yeah. So being kind to one another doesn't really cost us much, but it benefits us greatly.
nasty stuff sometimes it comes back.
Yes, and when you're nasty, it can come back to you. How about that? Ken?
When I was in college, we had a quote we always took from Rousseau, the French painter, and it was every artist was an amateur at one point.
Every artist was an amateur at one point. And I bet that's inspiring to you as you're going to college, right?
Well, especially when you have like these great masters that you have to do studies from, and like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, so you see these people who've accomplished so much, but at one point, they were like, Charlie, we'll go you first. Can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. This is true. This is true. And what does that mean for you, Charlie? Yeah, so you have to get messy to make progress or to make things beautiful or to make it right. Absolutely. Chris?
If you have to choose between being kind and being right, choose being kind.
If you have to choose between being kind and being right, choose being kind. And how's that work for you, Chris?
It works very well.
It works very well, yes. I know it's a great temptation for me to do the being right side of the equation. But you're absolutely right, Chris. Elaine,
This too shall pass.
this too shall pass.
Along with so much that people are saying that, no matter what's happening, it won't last forever.
Yeah.
The good and the bad. And it goes along to me with that church verse. There's a time for every purpose under heaven. That
There's a time for purpose, everyone in heaven. So you're talking about the Ecclesiastes. Yep.
I love that.
A great passage. Yeah, so everything in life has a season. Absolutely. Julie,
Live and let live.
live and let live. And what's that mean for you, Julie?
We're all different, except
We're all different, so accept one another. Be open. Yeah, absolutely. Tasha, you had one.
No, I don't know, and I wasn't going to say it, it's not exactly what I was listening, but I say it all the time, and the kids are always reminding me about it. I am not an octopus.
I am not an octopus. It's a good creed.
I can only do what I can do, and it will happen when the time happens.
Yes, you can only do so much. Absolutely. So my creed that I'm going to share with you is actually my mother's creed, but it's a family creed too. And it relates to yours, Tasha, and just many of the ones that you have all said. And the creed is, it's hard to be perfect all the time. My family has a perfectionist kind of culture. And often we find ourselves taking ourselves too seriously. We made a mistake. We're really beating ourselves up about it. And somebody else will say, it's hard to be perfect all the time. It's just a reminder, right? First of all, that we do have high potential. That we're given wonderful gifts. And we're called to use them. But as human beings, we're flawed. We make mistakes. We fall short. We can't be perfect all the time, or even really any of the time. And if we are to assume that we must be perfect all the time, we really miss living up to that potential, using those gifts, because we spend so much time worrying about failure. And we're not making any space for taking risks or being supported by others. Jesus today reveals his motto, the phrase that he will live by through his ministry. He says how the Spirit rests upon him, and he talks about these groups of people in need that he will bring hope to: captives, the blind, the poor. And Jesus is really living this statement at this point. He was just baptized, and the Spirit literally came to rest upon him in the form of a dove. We talked about that last week. And right after the sermon that he gives in Galilee, in Nazareth, in his hometown, his very next act will to be go to the town of Capernaum and to heal a man possessed by an unclean spirit. Already giving release to the captives. And this motto, interestingly enough, that Jesus speaks about is very similar to our own motto here at St. John's. That purpose statement that you see every Sunday up on the screens when we have our moment of mission towards the end of the service. Do you know how it goes? I'm just going to try it.
Powered by
The Spirit, right? Which is just how Jesus' phrase began. The Spirit of the Lord rests upon me, right? It's in your bulletins. Yeah, she's going to cheat. We reach out in joy, So there's that reaching out to those in need that Jesus talks about. We witness to God's love, sharing the good news, right? Like Jesus also says. And we help ourselves, that is our church, and our community to live and to grow. That's our creed. Can you say it again, Press Barb? Nice and loud.
Empowered by the Spirit, we reach out in joy, witness God's love, and help ourselves and our community live and grow.
Absolutely. So this is our call. Very similar to Jesus' own call, to his motto. But how does that happen, right? How does it work? Who does what? And when? It's real easy to kind of fall into the trap that the Corinthians fell into in our congregational life. To think that certain people are more integral to our ministry than other people. Certain people are more important than others. Certain body parts are more prestigious than other body parts within the body of Christ. For example, we might think that surely the pastor is more important than anybody in the pews. Or we might think the council president is surely more important than somebody who, just sings in the choir. Or the treasurer is surely more important than anybody who counts money after church. But the moment we fall into that trap or that line of thinking that certain people are integral to our ministry, we just couldn't do without them, while other people wouldn't really matter if they weren't here, is the moment that we are in trouble as a community. Who here has ever strained a muscle because you were overusing it? I know I have. So how does it work? Like when you strain a muscle, does it just impact that muscle? No. Right? It impacts all the muscles around it. Right? Because they're not working together. In the same way, has anybody ever had a muscle that got really weak because they weren't using it? I did. I had to have physical therapy for 4 months because I had a muscle in my ankle that was weak from an injury. I had been favoring it. In the same way, it impacts, in my case, the way that I walked. I had back pain because of it. It impacts your whole body when you have a muscle that you don't use. It's the same way with the community, the body of Christ. If we lean on certain people so much that they get overtired, burnt out, it impacts all the rest of us. And if we neglect inviting other people forward into ministry, they might just leave because they feel, I'm not needed here. I'm not important. I'm not part of the whole. And that impacts us too. That's what this image is about. We are all members of the body. We are all integral to the body. And we have to be purposeful about inviting people forward. In order for the hand and the feet to be able to do their thing, the head and the eye need to take a step back and say, hey, would you consider trying this? I'll help. I think you really have gifts for this. I can see you doing this. And then to remember some of these mottos that we heard. It's hard to be perfect all the time. If you're inviting new people into new roles, it might not go exactly like it used to go. It might make a few mistakes. That's okay. Build them up. Insist. You're doing a good job. You can do this. That's what it means to be the body. That's what it means to Clothe with greater honor those parts of the body that might be considered less honorable, less important. Inviting them forward, building them up. It has to be intentional. It won't just happen. Because often there's a culture, especially in a congregation like this that has such high standards, and really wants to do well, not unlike my family, that some people think, oh, I daren't try that, because if I don't do it right, boy, will I hear about it. Right? Ever heard that? Maybe? Maybe? That's why we have to be intentional and invite folks forward and say, no, we want you to try this. We think you can do this. If you make mistakes, it's okay. We believe in you. Because we're all integral parts of that body. And for it to function well, all the muscles to be working in harmony, we need to all view each other as just as important, just as blessed, just as full of important gifts for the community of Christ, so that we can live into that motto, empowered by the Spirit. We reach out in joy, we witness to God's love, and we help our church and our community to live and to grow.